Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 science fiction thriller Flashback, a film that is written and directed by Christopher McBride, and it stars Dylan O'Brien, Micah Monroe and Hannah Gross, and it focuses on Dylan O'Brien's character Fred, who's living a humdrum life, very run-of-the-mill, and then he discovers a link to his past. And he keeps pulling on that thread, and it kind of forces him to face the ghosts of his past in a very psychedelic way, I guess. I don't know how the best way to describe this film, if I'm being particularly honest, guys. Whoa, how do I make sense of this film? Well, to give it some kind of comparison, it's a cross between Jacob's Ladder and The Matrix. Now, imagine The Matrix, right? Remember that film, The Matrix? You know, at the beginning with the Keanu Reeves character Neo, where he's living that humdrum life as this hacker, and you know, he knows something's just not right. He can't just figure it out, and then fairly quickly he meets Morpheus, and the reveal takes place about the Matrix, etc., etc. And off we go with that film. Well, imagine that beginning part of The Matrix, but that's what you get for the whole film. It's like The Matrix with no fun and action, this film, at all. I mean, it's not the same concept, don't get me wrong, it's not red pill, blue pill type thing, although there is a drug involved in this film called mercury, that kind of, you take this drug and it explores it in his youth, when he was in college and stuff, taking this drug, and it kind of expands your mind, sort of thing. It's just, this film was just bizarre, really. It is the best way I could try and describe this film. Now, it's a real shame because I felt like this film could have been really good, and it's one of those films I really wanted to enjoy. I don't have an issue with any of the cast. I mean, I like Dylan O'Brien. I think the film he did last year, Love and Monsters, shows what potential this guy has. That was a great film, and he's got great screen charisma. He's just wasted in this film. I think the only reason he was chosen in this film was for his youthful looks, because he could play himself in the present day, looking a little bit older and a little bit, you know, 5 o'clock shadow, unshaven sort of thing, and getting a right good clean shave and ruffling up his hair a little bit, and then he could play himself back in college. And I think that's why a number of these actors were chosen, because they could do that. It's a shame. It just, this film for Dylan O'Brien, I just don't. I'm not sure why he chose it, and I think the director did a real good job selling this film to him, you know. And the same with Micah Monroe. What's happened to Micah Monroe? Great actress, was brilliant in It Follows. And again, she's fine in this film, as Dylan O'Brien is. You just scratch your head and wonder why they chose to do this one. Because it's a head scratcher. You find yourself, I'll promise you, a few times watching this film doing Stan Laurel impressions, scratching your head, because it's just so out there. It's one of those films you definitely don't want to watch if you are partaking in, you know, recreational substances, shall we say. It's odd, it's confusing. The shifts back and forth in time are jarring to watch a lot of the time. Mainly for the reason is you can't track what's going on. And the director keeps going into like these weird like flash type sequences that, you know, are almost seizure inducing. But also the time jumps are jarring for the same reason I explained with the actors, the youthful looks of the actors. You struggle to make out at times if you're in the past or the present. And then it's one of those films you watch and you think, well, I'm hanging in here because I'm really hoping that there's a hook and there's a reveal or a twist going to take place that's going to make or break this film. And unfortunately, when that reveal, twist, hook happens eventually, it doesn't make the film. That's the politest way I can put it. It just confuses it even more. I'm sure if the director sat down and had a conversation with us all who were confused by this film, he could maybe make sense of it. But for me, if you can't portray that in the narrative of the film, and you can't sit down for yourself and kind of make sense of it. If your film basically needs a roadmap for you to understand it, then I think you've kind of failed. I don't have a problem with films that are, I've got, convoluted plots to some degree, as long as they kind of tie up and make sense. I don't have a problem with films that allow you to think about them when you finish. I love films like that. I don't think this does any of those things. It just frustrates you because you don't get any of the answers that you seek here. Not really, and the answers you do get either confuse you more or just don't make an awful lot of sense, really. So it's a real shame. I think it's a missed opportunity. It's one of those films that you really want to enjoy, but unfortunately it's a bit dull and ordinary at the end of the day. And they're trying to do, I'm sure they're trying to do something special with this film. It just didn't work for me. I found it a bit of a struggle to watch. So I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. It's not a bad film. Nothing wrong with the performances. Some of the direction that's taking place is fine. Some of the choreography, cinematography, set design, lighting, all that kind of stuff is fine. It's just the film itself, the narrative, it's confusing, frustrating, and not a fun time to watch. So that is my review for Flashback. It's also known as The Education of Frederick Fitzel. What a cracking title that is. So yeah, I think this is one to avoid unless you really, you're a real fan of a head-scratching film. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you found the review useful, and of course I will be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.